Today on Meta Trends, we're going to be looking at a couple of cards that's basically a crank down your opponent's difficulty to easy mode. Some of these cards, I definitely recommend you guys to try out because it's maybe ahead of its time, maybe getting ahead of the curve, especially as we jump into the new format. And I want to make you guys earn your invite, get to WCQ 2024. You know, that's what I'm trying to help out with. But on top of that, there's also shifting trends for branded Chimera. There's a new way of playing it I want to share with you guys. I've been experimenting with it myself, and I find it to be more successful, but a little bit more cheesy because it's like one or two card change, and all of a sudden your opponent really does not like playing against you because they don't know what you're doing, which is also kind of fun too. And we're also going to look at the rise of Fantasmic. Of course, we're going to look at the matchup. But before we do all that, please, if you guys can do me a solid, hit that subscribe button, ding that notification bell, hit the like button, because we are reaching 100K, and I really appreciate you guys helping me reach that goal, helping us here all reach that goal. And there's going to be a massive celebration once we hit that goal, but I'm going to keep that a little bit surprising, just so that, you know, I don't spoil everything. But I do appreciate you guys. You know, it's been a long journey, and without further ado, let's talk about some of these cards. Let's start things off with hand traps and the most popular hand traps that are being played right now. That's Ash, Imperm, and Nibiru. These particular hand traps are just so generic and just, you know, big surprise. They're really effective as long as you have proper matchup knowledge, that they're really paying off. And even for Nibiru, which doesn't work against Labyrinth, Floowandereeze, it doesn't work against Pearly, people are still playing it because you always cater your hand traps towards building against the most popular matchups. And so that's why they exist. Even if it gives you a disadvantage against those ones, it does provide you with options to side them out later on, so you have a bit of siding space to work with, which is okay. So that's why this particular format, the siding game, is going to be, I guess, a lot more important. It really shows your skill as a duelist based off of that particular skill, side deck building. But why isn't like Droll more popular? Well, it's quite funny. There's a lot of people that don't even side Droll. It's because it's not even effective against some of the matchups it should be effective against, like Floowandereeze. They'll just shifter you, and now you have a dead card for 2 turns. It's just not effective in all cases, and there's a lot of decks that can really go off, and until those decks do go off, Droll's popularity is still going to take a little bit of a backseat. And like, if Dark World kicks off, you can expect that Droll is going to be like 100% back in the format, like just like that, because it's so degenerate of a matchup where you can't even play. Therefore, it's going to require an answer like Droll, and this is a deck that does require the graveyard, so they're more or less bound to eat it. But with that said, let's go into our first hand trap comparison. The first topic at hand has got to be DD Crow versus Druid Worm. This card, I regret not main decking it during the OTS Store Championship. If I had it, I think I would have probably done even better than I did, but this was one of my biggest regrets. I left it on the table. I left Fantasmic on the table. I left a bunch of cards on the table that I tried out that I didn't think I had enough experience using, but definitely regretted DD Crow. Why choose this over Druid Worm? You know, I played Druid Worm. You know, it was great, but it was definitely not a side option in many of the matchups, like Pearly. For Pearly, Pearl Lily targets a card in the graveyard. You could crowd it away to prevent the Xyz summoning, the rank up of that card. And if it's Sleepy Memory, you prevented 2 card draw, because if they actually got to leap, then they were going to draw a second card anyway. So that's 2 cards they prevented from drawing. You prevented the monster from coming out, so they have to hard open leap to be able to get that rank up into the bigger monster, into Expertly Noir. There's just so much going for DD Crow in that matchup, where if you open with it, it's actually not too bad, and you can definitely get rid of some of the more problematic cards. Now, it's not just that. You can also use that against like Labyrinth, like DD Crow taking away some of the trap cards. That's not bad, and like prevent some of the cycling. I'm not sure people are going to play Labyrinth as much now because the matchup against Unchained is just so unfavorable. But against Unchained, of course, you can still hit Lord Yama, but you can also hit the Blue Dog. If you can hit the Blue Dog, it's very funny. They still have to pop their card, so you don't chain to it. You just preemptively activate it and just get rid of it. If you get rid of the Blue Dog, they lose the body, and yeah, it's kind of silly. It's like one of their lined up follow-ups, and they're not going to have it, and so generating a second 6 body might prevent the Caesar from coming out altogether. That's also a neat thing. But if you were to play against them, you can side both the DD Crow and the Druid Worm, so that Druid Worm can take out the Lord Yama, and then the DD Crow can take out the Blue Dog, and then they really have to reset everything to be able to play. And that's just a fact, because I hit someone with a Nib and Druid Worm, and that was it. That was the end of that game. So keep that in mind. But it doesn't provide you with a body, so that's a little bit of a risk. And there's also Salamangreat. Salamangreat is going to generate a lot of stuff in the graveyard that you want to make sure that you crow away before they get, access to reuse some of their cards. Very, very crucial. So, give DD Crow a try. So the next meta trend moving forward is going to be branded Chimera playing There Can Be Only One. It's not just Vanquish Soul anymore. Branded Chimera can do the same thing. You'll see them play cards like Kashtira Fenrir. Even if they open with, say, Branded Fusion, the monster they're putting onto the field is a winged beast. Now, this particular card definitely makes things a little bit more difficult when it comes to playing Super Poly, but ultimately, they wouldn't really need the Super Poly if the There Can Be Only One lands successfully. And this isn't a deck where Evenly Match is also all that effective either, because there's so much play that comes from the graveyard that really messes things up. So the timing and tempo and the layering definitely working out. And to break that down, why don't we give you a scenario where, okay, the Chimera branded player tries to start off with like a Branded Fusion or something along those lines, or maybe they try to summon a card, it gets negated, they said There Can Be Only One, pass turn, they're holding another follow-up the next turn. Opponent tries to go off, There Can Be Only One, they lock themselves out, they punch, they move out of the battle phase and move back to you. Now you can do your full combo under There Can Be Only One, starting off with Mirror Sword Knight. Mirror Sword Knight, summons out a from Illusion into a Fiend, which is Berflement. Berflement adds Gazelle into hand and the Chimera Fusion, and from there you turn the monster that's a Fiend by fusing it with the Gazelle. Now it's a beast and it can activate. It's a bit ridiculous if you ask me. It's very, very strong, and let's just say we're definitely open to trying it out. So you get to rip a card out of their hand, and they're still locked under There Can Be Only One. You have full combo available, and Berflement, gets sent to the graveyard as fusion material, and because you don't have an illusion, it summons back the Mirror Sword Knight. Your entire combo is unhindered. They have to eat the entire play. And when you're going second, even if you open There Can Be Only One, you can still set it and use it against your opponent as a board wipe. Like, if you can't advance the game state, use it as a board wipe, especially if they're playing monotype. Restrict them from whatever that they can play, which is why this card is going to be really ridiculous. Against Salad, you can use it against Pearly. You can use it against a lot of different matchups. It's really, really restrictive. And so, yeah, you can expect There Can Be Only One going to, I guess, the locals near you. And just a quick plug to MSTmerch.com. If you guys need your card game supplies and essentials, from card game sleeves, over sleeves, sort your collection with our box divider kits. And we've got a ton more stuff available to you from foil sleeve. You can bling it out. I know you guys love the LT Egos, LT Instinct. You guys can get them in a bundle with the oversleeve, protecting them, at a nice discount. Check out MSTmerch.com. We are restocking very, very soon. And so thank you guys for the support. Really love you guys. And I know you guys love the pink sleeve. You guys have been buying that like crazy. The white sleeve as well. Thank you guys for the support. And let's continue. And the third topic at hand has got to be the resurgence of Fantasmic. Fantasmic has become a lot more popular thanks to more and more meta-based matchups using links in their extra deck. Of course, they're one of the top tier decks, the tier 0 deck of the format, Unchained. I mean, they're just link-based deck all over again. And then there's Dragon Link, and then there's Rescue Ace. If you look at a Rescue Ace's extra deck, it's mainly made up of Link monster because they play a link-based toolbox. So another link-based matchup. Vanquish Soul, they go into Rock of the Vanquisher, though that's going to give you another one there. Now, in terms of survivability, I don't think it's going to survive as hard because they don't have as many targeting effects. And there's also Salamangreat. Yeah, well, Salamangreat, you can even wait for them to go double link, and then you draw more cards and hopefully hit a Nibiru and wipe their entire board. But there's just many, many link-based matchups, and even for non-link-based matchups like Sword Soul, they go into Monk of the Tenyi. If there's Vanadium, there's probably going to be Cross Sheep. There's just links everywhere. They're just being used as a pretty relevant part of the current meta, so that's why Fantasmic has made a return. But on top of that, the other effect, the on-field effect of Fantasmic, is also very much relevant and very good at protecting your cards against, say, Unchained. The Unchained cards, the Soul of Rage, Soul of Anguish, those Soul of Disaster, all of them have to target a card, and therefore Fantasmic has that anti-targeting capability of negating and destroying those cards, which is why Fantasmic is great. Rescue Ace trap cards, they target. Contain and Extinguish both have to target a card. You can also block imperms. There's a lot that it can do. Now, against Dragon Link, Vanquish Soul, not so much in terms of that. Once again, doesn't really matter. Maybe you can block a Baron a little bit, but it's going to be a downward trade, considering they can just go battle phase, run you over. But that being said, you know, it still has the value. It can help you draw into your better cards, fix up your hand, and potentially protect your board. So that's why Fantasmic has been making a big return. Hopefully we get a little bit more of a reprint on this card, because it is definitely spiking up in price. You know, it's formats like these, it makes me think that hand traps themselves will just not be enough to kind of give you all coverage. You need at least 2 hand traps to play, or maybe you can actually focus more on adding some board breakers and cutting out some hand traps, especially in the game 1. I think that has become very much a valid option, so don't be afraid to test it out. You know, it's times like these where it really tests you as a duelist, whether or not you know how to craft a strong side deck and a main deck that can adapt to more situations. And solely relying on hand traps, I don't think we're in that type of format at the moment, but you know, the format can evolve. You know, personally, I've been testing TCBoo in the branded Chimera, and it's won me a lot of games I really should not have won, which is why I'm recommending for you guys to try it, for you guys onto Chimera. And for those of you who are playing Unchained, unfortunately, of course, that's like a blowout. The second thing that really blows out, like, Fluandereeze doesn't like it. I don't think Sword Soul likes it. In fact, there's so many matchups that actually does not like this particular card being played against them, so that's why I would recommend it. Even going second, you can flip it on them and they still don't like it. It's cards like these that we need to find in the format. If you guys have these kinds of cards, leave it down in the comment section. Maybe we're onto something. Maybe you are onto something, and feel free to share it, or you can keep it secret until, you know, you top with it first. You know, that's how things go these days. But well, feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section of what you think about some of these techs, and suggest some of your own down in the comments as well. Thank you guys for watching. That's all I got for this video. Hopefully these tips will help you, you know, up your game a little bit. And until next time, don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. We're almost at 100K, and I will also see you all in the next one.